Now, the first thing that we have in Lesson 3 for Chapter 2 is going through and using our History panel, and I would like you to look up here. Okay, so eyes up here for this one. I'm going to go to Window, and then under Window, here's my option for History. Again, anytime if something is missing from your panels on the right-hand side, if you go under Window, you can find it. And here's my History panel. Why is it empty? I just open up this document. The History panel is not going to remember what you did after you close the document. It will, though. For example, if I go through, highlight this information and set it bold, now look over here on my History panel. And let's say then I also went through and set this as heading 2. Over here on the History panel, I don't have to click on Undo or Undo. I can go here and actually get rid of all of the things that I've done before. So if you wanted to go back to say, hey, do I really want to go through and rotate my history and see what happened? You can do that in the History panel. But again, because we don't have anything done to this document because we saved it and then opened it back up, nothing is going to be in our History panel. Okay. So the first part, we don't have to do anything with the History panel, but I would like you to select your horizontal rule up here on the very top. Okay, so we're going to start with that. I have my horizontal rule selected on my Properties panel down below. In the width box, we're going to type in 900. And then my alignment, I'm going to change from default to left. So what did I just do right here for the width where it says 900? It's going to be 900 pixels, and my align changed from default to left. Do you see where that shows up on your History panel? If you don't have your History panels open, why don't you go ahead and do that just so you can see how your different actions will come up. And again, you find your History panel by going under Window and then left-clicking in front of History. Let's go ahead and change that width to, instead of 900, let's set it to 80. Now, I set it to 80. I don't see 80 set on everyone's yet. Which one looked better? 900. So I can go back here on my History panel and just drag it up one, and it goes back, and I don't have to retype in 900. Did you see how to make that undo in your History panel? Okay, the other thing we're going to do now is we're going to work with our code inspector. So I'm going to go to Window, and then right here, below History, below History is Code Inspector. I'm going to go ahead and launch that. And I have my HR still selected. And when I have my HR still selected, notice basically what I have is I have my code that has come up on front as a separate window. And because I had my HR selected, that is what's highlighted in my Code Inspector. Right here on my Code Inspector window, because HR is selected, I have options of what I would like to do. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that word wrap is selected, because otherwise if I don't have word wrap, just like when we did Notepad, everything's going to scroll all over. So please make sure under Code Inspector that you have your word wrapping checked. And then the other thing you want to have is you want to have line numbers, because line numbers are going to be a lot easier for us to say, okay, I'm on line 18 of code, you're on line 28. So once you have those selected, do you see where it says 900 here? Now what I am noticing is when I look here at my code, or excuse me, at my design view, take a look right here. This is where my HR ends. This is where my banner ends. Is that good design? I should have my HR go as long as the banner. I don't want it to go longer, and I don't want it to be shorter. So another way that we can go ahead and edit our code here is right here in our code inspector. We're going to change the width, and we're going to type right here in the code inspector to 950. I've pretty much shown you a couple different ways that we can go ahead and get this set. So I'm going to, in my code inspector, change the width to 950. And then you should find that it is the same width as our banner. So still make sure that in your code inspector that you are on your HR. Notice that this little tag right here, now this is going to be one of those things you're like, why didn't I know about this earlier? This would have been helpful. So I'm in my HR tag, and then I can go ahead and click on reference. It's going to take a little bit for it to load. But then down here, depending on where I am, and because my cursor was on the align when I clicked reference, it goes through and it tells me information about that line of code. Same thing if I would have had it on the HR and then clicked reference. It's going to go through and give me all of the information down here below properties panels about my HR. Right here I can have my HR description. I can go through and have my align, no shade, all the different attributes that I can apply to my HR. So that information comes up, and again, that's going to be your reference panel, basically just going through and teaching you about the HTML code for each thing that we have on there. Okay. We can go ahead and close the code inspector. And I'm going to close the tab group for my reference also. Okay, so I am back to just having properties panel open on the bottom. Now the next thing we're going to do, this is a big one. The first ones I'm just going you through and showing you how to find different things, nothing earth-shattering. But the next one we're going to do, you have to use in every document. Okay, basically, have you ever gone to a website and then on the bottom of the web page it says last updated June 2010? What do you think when you see that? It's outdated, right? So what we want to do is we want to put a code in on our page with the date that anytime we save the page, it automatically updates. So you don't have to remember on every page to go in and put today's date. It will automatically do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert a date in on the footer area, and we're going to do a checkbox that says automatically update every time you save. So that would show me, hey, the last time you edited this page was on December 9th, or maybe it'd be 10th or 12th or whatever day it was, but you could very easily see which date that was. So down here, do you see where it says January 1st, 2013? It's kind of tiny right here. Teeny tiny little. Okay. Select that, and then we're going to get rid of it. So I'm going to hit the backspace. Now, over here, under my common menu, is a date option. Do you see where it is? I have to scroll down, and here's an option for date. And when I click on Insert Date, I have a couple different things that can come up. I can choose the format of month, day, comma, year. Or I can have any of these formats. And we're going to use the one that says March 7th, comma, 1974. Now, you can also add the time to it, but we don't need to do that. But what I need to make sure that you do is put this check mark right here that says update automatically on save, because when you do that, basically, every time you save a page, that date will automatically update with the date that you save it. So go ahead and click on OK. And then you will notice in the Properties panel on the bottom of the page, it does say last updated on and then today's date, but the Properties says Edit Date Format. Let's go ahead and go to Split Design. And when you will notice that the date information on my code, it's not just typed text that says December 9th. It says begin date, format, blah, blah, end date, because it's code that's going to automatically be updated anytime you do it. Let's go ahead and save that page. That was lesson 4. You ready to finish up 5 today? Okay. Told you 4 would be fast and 5 will be even faster. Okay, I'm going to be back in Design View. Now, I need to click on this icon right here. Do you see where I'm pointing with my ruler? So I'm going to be making my page smaller. Okay? Do you see how now it's a window that moves around and you can set it, you can resize it any way you want? Basically, what we need to do is right here, and this is kind of a little bit hard to find because you probably have just been ignoring it. Right here, do you see the size? Is your size the same as my size? No, why? Because I was just resizing it, right? I was clicking and dragging and doing this. So now what you could do is you could actually go through and set this to the size, for example, of your smartphone or your iPad, and that would show you exactly what it would look like on your device, especially when you go up to that top banner. The other thing that you can do is I want you to notice there's a drop-down arrow next to it, right there, and you can click on it. Notice it gives you some sizes. So feature phone, smartphone, tablet. So you can click on it and then go ahead and go to tablet and be like, oh, this is what it would look like on a tablet. Is it annoying? Do people have to scroll left to right? What does it look like on a smartphone? Notice when you go smartphone, it actually gives you your scroll bar to the left and to the right. So just basically go through and choose different ones to see how it looks. Now, nothing fancy you have to do except for the fact that you can go ahead and do it here in your design view. You don't have to go through and export it or save it, open it up in a browser. It would really show you exactly what it would look like. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and set it to full screen. And then I'm going to set the drop down to full size. So it pretty much gives me my whole workspace. Now, one great thing about our monitors in the room is they are ginormous and huge, and that makes it really nice for doing things, except not everyone has this size monitor. You cannot design a web page for this size monitor. Imagine how it would look on the netbooks in the science department, on an iPod. It would not look nice, so you always have to keep that in consideration. So the other thing I've already showed you so far in this chapter is going through and previewing it in browser. Okay? To preview in browser, you can go ahead and click on this picture of a globe right below the word window, and you have an option of all of the different browsers that you can search in. So I have an option to preview in Firefox, IE, Chrome, and different ones there. I'm going to go ahead and preview it in Firefox because I want to see how it looks in a different browser. And then it will automatically open up that browser and show me what that page looks like. I don't have to wonder, hey, how is this going to look like in this browser? I have an option right within the program to see, do I like it, do I not like it? Now, here's one thing I want you to realize. We went through in a lesson and linked these. If I click on the word spa, what should happen? We did this page. SPA should work. Now, we don't have all of our nav bars set yet, so you'd actually have to click on the back button, which is normally a no-no. What happens if I click on Cafe? We have a page called Cafe. There's just nothing on it yet. Same thing for About Us. It should not give you a 504 error because you've made those pages. There's just no information on there. Okay? So when it tells you to go through and to preview in browser, you also should check your links to make sure all of your links work correctly. That is the end of Lesson 5. I told you 4 and 5 would go super duper fast. So there wasn't too much on 5 except for modifying the web page, looking at changing the size, and then testing it in your browser. I did share with you earlier today Lesson 5's presentation. So you need to work on those, okay? Some of you still don't have Chapter 1 screenshots for me. I have graded all of the Chapter 1 screenshots that have been turned into me. I entered them all into me this morning. Okay, so go ahead and work on that. Everyone has something to do, even Brock.